Welcome to the channel. This is the Specialized Stunt Jumper FSR Carbon Comp 2019. Now it's a 29er, comes in a 27.5 as well, and the frame that I have here is a large, so it goes from small to XL, but you can also buy it in alloy, but I've got the carbon edition here. They do a woman's specific frame also, and it falls in between that trail and enduro bike setup. So we're going to go straight into the text and specs of the bike, so stay tuned because we'll dive straight into that. Specialized are really giving you your money's worth here, because what you are getting is the 11M compound, and that means that you are getting the top rate carbon frame. Now this is normally something that you'd see in the S-Works range, and you're getting it on this model, and that is just absolutely fantastic. So you have the snap box at the back here, and you can put a bottle cage on there as you'd expect with most bikes, but the special thing here, once you unclip it, you can see that you have storage space within the frame. In a tube that's been provided in already, but you can put a couple of tools in that you would normally carry in your hydration pack or your fanny pack, whatever, and put it in there, secure it in place so it doesn't rattle around in the frame. Put this back on, which is waterproof, sealed, and get your bottle on there and just carry on your merry way. But what a cool feature. The front fork is the Fox Rhythm 34. You've got 150mm of travel and plenty of adjustability. So at the bottom here you have the rebound adjustment dial, so you can get that exactly where you want it. But also at the top, just by turning that dial clockwise, you can either have the shock fully open, which will give you the maximum out of the shock, or you can twist it round and you're going to firm up that damping. But that is just dependent on the particular type of trail riding that you do, but plenty of adjustability in there to get that done. And at the back you have the Fox Float DPS shock. This is 140mm of travel, and you can position it using this dial here in open, medium or firm, and that is just quite simply by twisting that round. And then you have the rebound adjustment dial, just like you do on the front shock, so that you can have that slow or fast rebound and get that exactly where you want it. And at the back you have the flip chip system, so that will either raise or lower the height of the bottom bracket, and with that adjustment you will also slacken or steepen the head angle by ½ a degree as well. So it's nice to have that adjustability there so you can get it exactly where you want it. New to the 2019 model is this supporting arm. It serves a valuable purpose, and that is to offer more stiffness within the frame for one, but it just gives you better performance also when the shock is going through its mid-stroke phase. An absolute key benefit to this setup is that you'll be able to upgrade the shock for the current stuff hitting the market, and you'll also be able to fit in a coil shock, and that could be quite a good bit of information for those that might want to change this out. So Specialized have really thought about future-proofing this, and you should be able to put in there what you want. Stopping the bike is the Shimano SLX brakes, and up the front you have a huge 200mm rotor, and on the rear is 180mm. So you're going to have no problems in stopping this bike, and I've used these brakes on several other models and they are powerful brakes. What I like in particular is, regardless of the frame size going from small to XL, you're going to get 780mm wide bars, and it's a 31.8 diameter bar. So you can see there I've been testing this at night as well, so it fits most mounts and that's not going to be an issue. But keeping it all nice and neat in the cockpit area is the 40mm Specialized stem. The grips are Specialized very own SIP grip. What you're going to get here that's slightly different though is when you go for the small to medium, you have a regular thickness on that rubber compound there, and then when you move up to the large XL frame set, it's going to be a little bit thicker. But either way, on this particular one, and I'm sure with the rest, it is very comfortable, and if you wanted to upgrade it later on down the line, then that's easy to do regardless. To power this bike through the trails, you have the race face cranks, and that is supported with the race face chainring. It's a 32 tooth chainring. And at the rear you have the Shimano SLX cassette. It's the 11 by 46 tooth cassette, and there is more than enough gear range there with the 1x drivetrain to get you through those trails with no issues at all. And helping shift all that is the Shimano XT derailleur. Something that you might not have seen before, which is really good on this. The chainstay protector has this rib design in order to prevent the vibration that goes through when you get the chain slap. So when that does come down, it doesn't resonate as much, and because I've been using this bike now for the 2-week period, I can vouch that that system does work. So that's quite a clever design there, but it actually does offer quite a bit of protection compared to some of the other chainstays I've seen out there regardless. So Specialized have done a good job there. The wheel set is the Roval Traverse, and that comes with a 29mm internal diameter. They are tubeless ready, so just for once they come with all the tape inside, and you amazingly have supplied with the wheels the tubeless valves also. So all you need to do is go out and buy the tubeless sealant that you want, and then you're well on your way. The tyres supporting this is up front the 2.6 Butcher Grid, and at the rear 2.6 Purgatory, but you can comfortably fit in this bike up to 2.8-inch tyres, so it's up to you where you want to go on that one. The dropper provided with the bike is the X-Fusion Manic, and it looks pretty neat under here. The good news is it's cable operated, which means it will be nice and cheap on the maintenance side. One thing to note with the dropper, on the small you have 125mm of travel, and then frames up, so medium, large and XL, you're going to have 150mm of travel. It's infinite adjustment, so what that means is as soon as I press the lever in, you'll be able to release it and it will stay within its travel area. So put it down, you can have it all the way up, down, but you can see that works really smoothly, and over the 2-week period I've had no dramas with this whatsoever out on the trail. All cables on the bike come internally routed, and I think you'll agree that looks really neat. So that's the overview complete. I just hope I've given you a better insight into what this is spec'd with for the price, £3,800. I think you're getting quite a lot for your money, especially there with the carbon compound. But it's time to go and hit the trails over there. I've been itching to do that, so I pieced together this cinematic edit and also coupled that with a little bit of GoPro POV, which I hope you enjoy. So let's get to that. POV GoPro on the chin mount. First real good test of a 29er, and gotta say I'm liking it so far. One thing I will point out straight away, the Butchers, I like Specialized tyres, but I find these just don't dig so well. So could be worth an upgrade. Just slipping out in sections that I wouldn't normally. Here we come onto the more gnarly section of the trail. Nice little jump, table to come. I'll be able to rail it around these corners. Slidey. Here we go, send it. And now it's just the sprint to the end. Hopefully a nice bit of POV there. So that completes the review of the bike, and I've had an absolute blast on this, and it really is down to the guys at Cycle Works in Petersfield, so thank you very much for the loan once again, and I'm going to link those down in the description, because if you want to go and demo this exact model you can do that, so just nip into the store. There are terms and conditions to a demo, but speak to those guys, they're more than helpful and you can make your own mind up. There's a few things that I want to point out about this bike, and the first one being, as it's a 29er and I normally ride my own bike a 27.5, you're not just going to jump straight into the saddle of a 29er and be able to blast down the trails the same way that you can on your previous bike, and that is if you've got a 27.5. These handle very differently to that bike size, so just take your time with it and adjust to it properly. But once you get that sweet spot, it is just absolutely phenomenal on the trail. The second thing I want to mention are the tyres. Now, I even run Specialized Hillbillies on my own, so I am a fan of Specialized tyres, but I just don't think the Butcher and the Purgatory do this bike any justice, really. I've struggled to maintain grip in some really easy areas on my local trail, and you just have to concentrate more than what you want to. So that is something that I would swap out straight away. It's just a setup that doesn't work for me. It's a personal preference thing, but it's just something to be mindful of, that these aren't really sort of conforming to the conditions of the places that I ride, so it hasn't worked, but for some others it might be absolutely perfect. And the final thing I want to mention is, although these internal cables look really neat, what happens is it just comes out straight from the metal and then the cable threads through. So as you turn the bars, it's going to be a little bit difficult to see, but it is there, trust me. You've got a little bit of fraying and chafing on the cables there, where there's no rubber grommet in there to support that as it comes out the bike. So just over time you might have to end up replacing the cables a little more often than you would on any other bike. So it's just something to point out, to be mindful of, that is a little bit of an issue there. So maybe on their next model they might address that. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. I've certainly had an absolutely brilliant time with this bike, and I'll tell you what, if someone ever said to me, do you want this, I'd absolutely snatch it up. I can highly recommend this bike. It is just brilliant. I'm under no obligation with this shop to have to give them praise. That this is just a great bike. It's not theirs specifically, it's just a Specialized stunt jumper, and I've got to give it an absolute thumbs up. I've just enjoyed my time on it, and it's really changed my opinion of the 29er. One thing to point out straight away is I had a bit of a mission the other night, and I wanted to see how fast this thing was. I blitzed the trail, I made it known to the group that I was going to hit it as hard as I could, and I actually got the fastest time on it this year as well. So it really does go to show that the 29er does have a place in the market, and yeah, I had a phenomenal time on it. But if you like this video, it'd be great if you throw your comments down below, let me know what you think, and it'd be even better if you give it a thumbs up, press the logo right down there, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.